A Musician Pop Star Guide 1. Chapter 1. Working Musician / Pop Star Essays 1-8. Be a working musician / pop star 1. You gotta love the life you lead and lead the life you love. Most true blue musicians, not the manufactured pop stars you see on TV, live most of their lives playing dingy nightclubs, jamming with friends in endless recording sessions and creating songs that very few people will ever hear, but they don't care because they were meant to live that bohemian lifestyle as the soulful musicians they are. That's real. The slick videos you see on TV are largely a fantasy, the realm of a few pop stars, most of which are seasonal wonders with short lives in the music industry. There are very few tried and true musical pop stars who have made a career out of it. If it was meant to be, you will do it. Aside from playing live, you might get some studio work, generally recording sessions at either of the three major music cities, New York, LA, and Nashville. If you're good, you will make a demo, pass it around and get a record deal or get your own website, do some distribution from there and maybe get some play on college radio stations, because the mainstream radio stations generally only play what the corporations want because they're probably owned by them. Whereas in the past, it was payola under the table, nowadays it's legal payola because they're all part of the same few corporate interests. If you're really tough, you will make your own CD and market it yourself by playing live as much as you can. If a big corporation comes across it and likes it, you will get a record contract with them. You have to move to a major music city and impress a record executive enough with your demos so he comes see you showcase your talents live. If he likes what he sees, he will sign you, give you an advance to record a CD, then package a media tour and radio airplay to try to get you known out there amidst all your competition. You might get a manager to try to book gigs for you and get a record deal for a 10 to 15% commission of your earnings. In my opinion, the so-called pop music of today has degenerated into crap over the past 15 years or so. Before then, there was an objective standard as to what was hummable, what had a clear melody to it, but nowadays it's all these fake artists imitating all the crap they hear called hip-hop or something like that, thinking it's music. Anybody can become a star with a cool-looking video that's played over and over again. You don't have to sing, just speak the lyrics. Be a working musician / pop star 2. To make it big in music, you have to start with one great hit and / or a gimmick that appeals to your base audience, teenagers, usually a sexy-looking guy since girls buy most records, or a vampy cool-looking girl that teenage girls want to imitate. For a male musician to appeal to young guys, you either have to be studly masculine and / or rebellious. Most guys look for sexy images in porn, not music, so it's not guys buying the CDs of female vampy pop stars. It's girls trying to be cool. The music industry is based partially on talent, partially on luck and partially on gimmick. You might be one or the other or a mixture of the three. By and large, most music releases on the charts is generic crud, making it because of image, repetition, and connections. This is the domain of the industry insiders, the big shots of the record companies who decide what goes and feed it to their buddies on video, TV and the radio stations. Your job is to break through the literally thousands of individuals and groups like yourself to be able to produce real good music that stands on its own, or to have some hook that the naive youth, who buy most records, will relate to and identify with as either cool or rebellious. There are some no-talent rappers and punk rockers out there who got about as much talent as there is in my butt, but they're making it because they project these images for the young, stupid people to spend their money on. Your first course of action, whether you decide to go solo or not, is to find a group of musicians like yourself and get some music happening. In my opinion, the gimmicks are cheap. You know who I'm talking about. You probably have to join your local musicians union and get a manager who will book you into local clubs, or book yourself into clubs while you're in college or working regular jobs. Recording equipment is now cheap enough such that you can create your own recordings at home. I suggest you become a master music mixer and try to create the best work of art you can by using your synthesizers and mixers. It doesn't matter how you create it as long as the final product sounds good. Prince got discovered by creating his own recordings. They thought it was a full band, but it was just him. You will probably have to play top 40 stuff, whether it be country or pop, in order to get the gigs to play dance music to make money. Meanwhile, work on your original stuff and try to develop your own unique sound. If you develop a local following, that could be your ticket into the big time if people get to know you. The whole scene is to develop a nice sounding love song or a pop song that people can dance to or hum to that makes them feel good. Good rock songs make it occasionally, but the big thing is the love song / ballad type thing, because it cuts across all demographic boundaries. Consider the homegrown American appeal like Springsteen or Mellencamp, who've written those blue-collar, Americana type songs. America is ready for another one of those. It could set you up for life. Don McLean's American Pie was his one big life song. Never underestimate Bob Dylan. I'm waiting for someone like him to come along with social conscience songs. Many musicians move to LA, New York, or Nashville and end up competing with thousands of others for low-level jobs in dive nightclubs while they search for the big contract. One time, I lived next to a big community hall in Los Angeles which was used as a practice studio. I saw hundreds of wannabe rock and roll bands pass through there all the time, night after night, all the same, all generic, all clones. I used to do dope with some of these guys since I was just a young guy hanging out then. One guy I knew in a heavy metal band came over all excited because he had just shot his first music video. I watched it with him, and while he was there beaming, I couldn't get over how generic it was next to all the other videos on MTV. They're all the same, so stupid. I recently saw one on TV. A professional wrestler's daughter was trying to break into the music biz, so she gets on some show with her famous father. They show her generic music video about some cheerleader shtick, and then her old man is there beaming, and I'm thinking, what another piece of generic crap. The world needs another dipstick pop star like it needs Duff promoting clothes for some department store. That's cool shit, or should I say the bomb? Are those people really that out of touch with the nuts and bolts of the real world? The problem is that this has become the modern fairy tale, the theme of movies and TV reality shows. Become a pop star, in effect become packaged as a cool person in the in crowd to make money quickly by sucking in all the lonely, lost people of the world who buy into this stuff looking for an emotional connection. That's it right there. Give all the lonely, lost people a sense that you're their friend connecting with them. Maybe it's a sign of aging, but I'm not impressed unless I see and hear something original, done with sincerity and written by the performers. To me, musical talent has nothing to do with cute choreography as with Brittany and Justin. They portray that as the flyest thing around, a half dozen or so of them sashaying with their dance moves in sync, but it's been done so many times that it's generic by now. Move my emotions with the music alone and I will be impressed. If you really think you got it, you might try for the big city right away, but in my opinion, the best approach is to play small gigs and develop about 5 or 6 really great original songs. Try to get some local airplay and some local connections to send your music to the big record companies. The big record companies get thousands of unsolicited demo tapes every day. You might as well send them yours, but it's still just an outside chance. You have to try to find one manager or a small record producer who believes in you and work up from there. If the music works, it will work with the big companies. They will seek you out and seduce you away from the small company. After you make a record, it won't sell unless it's promoted all to hell. That means playing gigs, going on TV shows, etc. Your record company and management have to pump you up by using their clout to get you played on radio and TV and get into music magazines. If your video makes it to MTV, call them during request times acting like a fan who wants them to play it. If you're super savvy and tough, you could go totally independent, record your own CD, sell it over the internet, send it out to record companies, magazines, and anywhere else you can to get some recognition. If you get some contacts, you could start producing and signing up other bands. That's where the real money is without the hassle. Be a working musician / pop star 3. I've seen many rock bands pump out the generic stuff and they think they got it. Big deal, it ain't gonna fly. You can make up a cheap gimmick or name to further promote yourself, but don't get too crass. The reality for most musicians is endless gigs in small nightclubs where the locals get drunk and don't really give a damn about your music anyway. It's just background to them. The problem is the competition. With the small record labels coming on the scene, the issue becomes one of exposure. Your manager/producer has to go around to radio stations and bribe and/or woo them to play your record over the 100 or so new releases they get every week. If you make a video, do yourself a favor and don't embarrass yourself with stupid antics like in 95% of the videos out there. Just keep the focus on a live performance without the artsy-fartsy bull. Keep your day job and keep plugging away. Books about music go from number 780-789 at the library. Find record company addresses in certain corporate directories at the library like the Thomas Register, thomasregister.com, or in the music magazines. When you send your demo, send a little one-page bio about you and your band with a photo. Some bands get full-fledged publicity packets made up in a neat folder with their logo on it. There is a pop academy in Mannheim, Germany that offers courses in how to be a pop star. Its two programs are Pop Music Design, How to be a Pop Star, and Pop Music Business for Behind the Scenes. I met one guy at a live gig in an average-sized nightclub who was a popular guy when in his 20s but now in his early 40s was an artist with no groupies. He was pretty cool because he was real about it. He laughed when I asked him about groupies. He was doing it because it was what was in his soul by then. He wasn't a stud/sex symbol anymore. He was just an artist-musician. He took it all in stride. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, this guy who was a cool-looking stud 20 years ago and now he's playing live gigs in little dives because he defines himself as a musician no matter what. Be a working musician/pop star. For many people are attracted to the music industry because they think it's a fun, frivolous life full of easy money, lots of sex and drugs. It looks that way when you watch it on TV, a slick performance that makes it all look so easy, effortless, and fun, but the truth is that it's very hard to make it in the music industry even if you're good because of all the competition. Millions of people either wants to sing or be in a band. Some people get big record contracts but often there's no rhyme or reason as to who will get the big record contract and be manufactured as a pop star and who won't. It's not just about talent. It's about luck and being in the right place at the right time, such as a particular record producer decides to give you the green light. It's not that simple, not like an on-off switch where you get the big contract and you think all your problems are over. You have to be manufactured a certain way to appeal to a lot of people. You have to culture an image such that the consuming public want to fork over money to buy your music and go to your concerts. There is no formula for this. Your managers can package you and try to hype you up, but if you don't have a certain it factor, you're not gonna make it. Granted, some pop stars don't have the it factor but make it because they literally hit you over the head by promoting the hell out of themselves, but most music fans want to see something about a person or band that makes them think they're cool. Regardless of whether you're aiming for a record contract with a mainstream company or want to make it as an independent musician, it's all about marketing and shameless self-promotion because there's so much competition out there for a piece of the pie. Don't listen when people tell you they don't want a record contract with a big company because they have no control. The truth is that it's the simplest way to make money as a musician. Let them do all the marketing. You focus on what you do, the music. If you don't have a manager who's an insider in the biz and knows what he's doing, try to get one by being a good musician with a professional attitude of showing up at all gigs and putting on a good show. Music managers will come looking for you if they hear you're good. If not, look them up through your local musicians union and send a few of them a demo tape with an offer to see you perform live. Some people and bands still make it on gimmick alone, but it's not like the old days. There is so much generic, copied stuff and so much average music out there that nobody will pay attention unless you're exceptional, unless you have some kind of unique, original sound or good energy on stage. Cute only works for teeny boppers. A manager or record producer looks at you to determine two things. 1. Do you have a look and the music that will appeal to some people and sell records? 2. Are you disciplined enough to show up at gigs on time and do interviews without embarrassing yourself? Unless you're exceptional, you're like 1,000 other bands, so at the very least, be professional from the beginning. Make up an impressive demo package, complete with a DVD of a live performance. Have a cool cover, the cover of your press kit, a cover letter, demo CD, DVD of a live performance, band biography, band photograph, and media articles or reviews if relevant. Regardless of who you send this demo to, it will be one of hundreds they have, so they give it a look and a listen for a few minutes, and based on that, they either decide to check you out more or reject you. Keep it simple. Don't go overboard on the hype. Let your music speak for itself. Anybody should be able to tell what your image is in a few seconds. The standard professional band photograph is black and white, 8x10. These guys in the music biz may have been fans at one time, but being in the biz has made them wise up to see that it's a business, so they're only thinking about the bottom line: can they sell your records? They don't care how brilliant the music might be or how profound the lyrics are. All they care about is, can they sell records? Be a working musician/pop star. 5. Record companies have artist and repertoire representatives, also known as A&R reps, to check out new talent and decide whether to sign them or not. A&R reps are humans with emotions. If your cover letter is arrogant, they'll pass. If they think you might be good, they won't sign you right away. They want to get a feel for you, so they'll want to talk to you, then see you play live. Find the names of A&R reps on some music websites and in some music directories like the College Music Directory, the Musicians Atlas, and a number of others. Ask the people in the local music biz if they know of any managers or record executives. Play live as much as you can. If you get a chance to play at a festival or a showcase, even for almost no pay, do it, because chances are there's a music scout in the audience looking for new talent. You could send out a demo to everyone on your list, but it might be better to call them and ask them if they're currently looking for new talent and what type of music they specialize in. If you have the normal musician's experience, it will be a lot of no responses and some rejection letters. I can't tell you how an unknown pop singer or band gets signed except to keep playing live and keep polishing your demo package. If you get to the end of the list, you have no choice but to start sending demos to the people at the front of the list all over again. Like I've said dozens of times in all my articles about trying to make it in the world of entertainment, there is no rhyme nor reason as to why some talentless band makes it and a great band with original music doesn't. You just have to be true to yourself, believe in what you do, set up a presence as an indie musician, but keep trying for the big record contract. At some point you will doubt yourself and contemplate whether you should be more commercial, whether you should sell out the soul of your music to make it more glittery. Some people do and make millions. Some people don't, and they're still unknown. Once you get a record contract offer, you need either an entertainment lawyer or a manager to negotiate the details for either a set fee, a percentage of the gross, or both. There are some important questions like: how many CDs will you do with the company? How much money and royalties do you want? What is the advance? Who owns the copyrights to the songs? The record company gives you X number of dollars to create the CD, then when they sell it, they take that money out of the profits before they start to pay you the royalty. If they don't recover expenses, you get nothing. I heard that for every 10 bands a record company signs, one ends up making the big money to make up for losses on the other 9. I don't know if it's true. It's just what I heard. It sounds pretty bleak, kind of like anyone's chances of making it big in the music biz is a crapshoot at best, regardless of talent. Be a working musician/pop star. 6. There is no manual. Everyone has their own path to success. The secret to making it in the music biz is passion, perseverance, and a thick skin that can take constant rejection. Those starry-eyed visions MTV, movies, and TV shows put forth about being plucked from obscurity because you're so special and thrust into mainstream success almost overnight are illusions geared to sucker young people into buying into the rock and roll fantasy lifestyle. The true path to musical success, except for the very few lucky flukes, is long, hard, and competitive as hell, since every other musician is indirectly competing with you for the consumer buck. Work hard, hold on to your inspired passion and take your licks in the arena of rejection because that's the normal path to success in the biz. Create music that will be critically acclaimed as well as be hummable pop music. You have to constantly write and rewrite material, heed criticism, and find a positive direction to your life, even when it feels like nobody gives a damn about your music, that you're just another pop culture pretender with delusions of grandeur. You have to believe that your music does something positive for the world. Work at other jobs to pay your bills and save money for studio time or buy your own equipment to record. Learn your craft and carve out your own niche. Accept the fact that you do it because you love the process and may never get rich or even solvent from it. Security is only as good as your current product. The challenge and fight never ends. Shanana might be hot stuff as I write this, but she's getting close to middle age. She will be put on the back burner of public consciousness soon as the young ones replace her. Her music is generic pop. Some old dude like Elton John or Phil Collins can still sell product because they're music creators with their own sound. Virtually every female pop star with a sexy image is basically a pop culture product, selling a gimmick of coolness and subtle sexuality, but any thin chick with a voice can do that. She will have her day, then it will be over, just like with Tiffany, Mariah, Madonna, and Whitney, all has-beens by now, at least to me. There's something unappealing to watching tired-looking middle-aged frumps trying to act sexy and cool. You are what you are. I think one of them is taking steroids to fight aging. It's young people who buy 90% of the CDs. If you ain't under 30 years old, it's very rare to get a record deal with a major label and sell lots of product. Accept music as a business. Accept producers as business leaders who can help shape songs into something marketable for mass consumption. Business and artistry are opposites in spiritual orientation, but they are bedfellows, albeit strange bedfellows. You can't be one or the other. You must be both. Retain your original reason for being an artist, but be smart about the business end of it. The guys called the Bay City Rollers were playing gigs left and right while their song Saturday Night was hot, but their manager ripped them off. They had nothing at the end. Billy Joel, Leonard Cohen, NSYNC, and tons of others were ripped off by their managers because they left money management to others. When you do that, you will get ripped off. It's human nature to steal money when the opportunity presents itself. Keep writing songs. Collaborate with others. Buy some computer music recording equipment and record your own stuff. Publicity and bringing attention to yourself or your band is as important as marketing a new consumer product. Get a marketing book at number 658 at the library. Shamelessly market yourself. Believe in yourself to the extreme. Sell like a used car salesman. With thousands of bands everywhere looking for exposure, you need creativity both for music and marketing your music. You have to do it for yourself before anyone is going to invest in you. Focus on who your music resonates with, who the potential audience is, and cater to them. Do things on a small level to pick up fans. All bands must have a website to post bios, concert dates, reviews, music samples, etc. Give your music to as many people as possible. People have to know you exist before they even consider buying your music. Put free music on the internet. Make up t-shirts with your band logo on them and give a few away at gigs to cool-looking people who look like they get around. Be yourself, true to who you really are. Have integrity. Don't fake it with gimmicks. If you're going for a band as opposed to solo, getting along is important for the collaboration to create music and tour without fighting. Fighting or differences are good to a limited extent because they help with the creative process, this angst that has to be released. Wear cool clothing on stage. Believe in yourself, keep creating music, hang around with people in the biz and play in public. Great musicians sweat with effort all the time. This is the lifestyle of a true artist. Great musicians accept the fact that they're never always on or in but work through the lows. Bad gigs happen. A real musician does it because it's his life as opposed to the pretender doing it to party, get rich or get chicks. From a distance, like on TV, the lifestyle looks glamorous and fun, but in reality, you need to find comfort in either or both. Your music. Your bandmates. It gets lonely on the road. There's the old cliché about the rocker playing for hundreds or even thousands of people 1 minute then be sitting in a hotel room wondering where's the party. This is more typical than the glammed up image you see on TV. My final warning is cash flow management. Music is not rocket science. There are expenses on one side, money taken in, assets, on the other. A few sleazy promoters and record companies will pad the expense column which is taken out of the gross before you get your cut of the profits. Be savvy enough to ask to look at an itemized list of expenses. If you're really smart, you can manage your own gigs, manage the money yourself. It's not hard with a website. You can book gigs, arrange your own transpiration, pay hotel bills, band members, etc. And keep the rest. Be a working musician/pop star. 7. If you play live a lot, you might get some exposure and some bigwig might come out to see you live in order to decide whether to represent you as an agent, take you on as a manager or give you a record contract, but don't bet on it. If you want an agent, manager, or record contract, unless you have excellent networking abilities, you have to do it the same way all the other obscure artists do. You have to cut a demo CD, possibly a music video, get lists of music agents, music managers, and recording studios, then send hundreds of copies of your demo out and hope someone bothers to listen to it, likes it and calls you. Just remember, most people in the music biz don't waste much time listening to unsolicited tapes, and there are thousands of bands and musicians sending these people their demos too, which is why some musicians don't even bother with this route. They play live, set up a website, sell CDs or downloadable music through it, promote themselves, and if they get a record contract from a big producer, that's fine, but if they don't, they're still in control of a moderately successful career in music. Don't buy into the lie that the best musicians make it. Many don't. You need some kind of hype or marketing behind you. The big record companies know how to do this. They have the ability to manufacture a mega-selling pop star like nobody else. An independent musician, no matter how good, just doesn't have that kind of clout to get his music on radio stations, music TV networks, and in thousands of record stores. That's why everybody still wants the recording contract with the big studio, even if they are going it alone as independent musicians. It could be the difference between fame and wealth and playing in dives, barely getting by. Look at Shania. If that dude didn't spot her, decided he wanted to marry her so he made her a pop star, she'd be another generic singer today. Cutting a demo is not exactly easy. Even though you can do it with a computer, it still takes work, know-how, and money to create all the sounds you want. There are recording studios in every city that rent themselves out to musicians on an hourly basis, complete with an engineer and even backup musicians if you are willing to pay. If your music is exceptional, you can record it in your garage and the music execs will feel your greatness. This is how Prince was discovered. You can find duplication companies in the phone book or on the internet. You should get a snappy cover for your CD. If you need money, play at any live gigs in order to earn enough to cut your CD. The government arts programs and some non-governmental music organizations help young, unknown artists cut CDs. Some organizations give out straight money to deserving artists to help them get established. Look in the Foundation directory and grant books or grants.gov. I cover grants in some of my other books like the business book. Be wary of shady characters. Don't pay for studio time up front. Pay a bit when you arrive and the rest at the end of the session. Don't pay an artist up front to draw your CD cover. Wait until he's done to pay him. You can create your own with Photoshop or the free one, GIMP. All wise bands or singers are versatile. They can do several styles of music, not just all heavy metal or all soppy love songs. Show your creative range on your CD. Make the demo no longer than 30 minutes. That's enough time for anyone to decide whether you're worth it or not. Place the strong pieces at the beginning. Go from the strongest to the worst. You can play someone else's songs for the demo, but if you release it publicly, if it's not public domain music, you'll have to get permission from the owner of the song and pay royalties for using it. This counts for parts of songs too. If you use some of the melody without paying, you could get sued. Huey Lewis and the News sued the Ghostbusters song as a rip-off of I Want a New Drug. They settled out of court. Rappers sample all the time without permission, and if the record goes big, they have to pay. You can find some public domain music at loc.gov, or better still, create your own. That's what true artists do. If the rights are owned by someone other than the songwriter, such as a publishing company or a music manager, you will need to get a mechanical license before you record that work. You can find out who owns the songs you want to cover through the following organizations. BMI.com. American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers. 1. Lincoln Plaza. NYC 10023. 212-621-6000. ASCAP.com. Society of European Songwriters, Authors and Composers. 10. Columbus Circle. NYC 10019. 212-586-3450. You have to credit the songwriter on your CD cover. If you write your own songs, get them copyrighted at the Library of Congress, loc.gov. It's about $35 a song, or you can put a bunch of songs together and copyright it as a songbook or a song list. Find a studio through a referral from friends, through the phone book, or go to studiofinder.com. Most studios are for profit. Even though they are kindred spirit musicians like you, they still have to earn a living. The quality of studios vary greatly. You have to look around and find a good studio. Maybe the local music college has one you can use on the cheap. Since they charge by the hour, be as efficient as possible. Go in knowing exactly what you plan to do and do it as fast as possible. The more practiced you are, the less you will have to edit and splice. If you listen to a cut and decide you don't like it and want to re-record, don't waste time listening to more of it. Cut it off and re-record it. Warm up before you get to the studio to save time once you get there. Bring backup instruments and extra things like guitar strings, drumsticks, reeds, etc. The days of cassette tapes are over. It's all about CDs and MP3s nowadays. After you get your master CD, first make up a backup copy, then find a duplicating service and run off a few hundred to start. The cover matters. It's the old packaging, hype bit. Plain covers don't attract the eyes of managers, producers, or agents, funky-looking ones do. Hire an artist or use Photoshop software to create a good cover. CD duplication companies often offer to cover artwork, which could be the easiest way for you. Do a rough diagram of what you want and they'll create it on computer software. If you're really cheap, you can copy your own CDs on your computer. If you need burning software, try deepburner.com or Nero.com. They even sell multi-drives such that you can record 4 CDs at one time. Be a working musician/pop star. 8. Most musicians don't make much money selling their CDs, tapes and other paraphernalia. They make it the old-fashioned way, selling tickets to their live gigs. A few bands without big-time record contracts and mainstream media exposure might develop a local reputation wherever they live and make a reasonable living touring nightclubs across the state, region, or province, but there are still venues for unknown bands as long as they can fill 3 sets or so with reasonable-sounding music. Many nightclub owners don't care who the band is as long as they can play some top 40 hits such that people come in to have a dance and a drink. These are what I call the mainstream nightclubs, but in the big cities nowadays, you got bars that specialize in one type of music only: top 40 pop, jazz, oldies, hip-hop, punk, alternative, etc. I've known one band that has about 5 different shticks. They can change their appearance and roster of songs depending on what their client wants. They are versatile. Live music in lounges is not past its prime, it's just undergoing changes. When I was a young dude in the late 70s and 80s, going out to the disco or the lounge was the thing to do. That was the culture back then. Nowadays, you got all the technology entertainment products for the home and a general attitude of health such that many people don't drink alcohol. That probably cuts into the lounge business, but girls and guys alike like to go out, meet people and dance. People still love to dance to current top 40 hits and standards of the 60s to the 90s. If you can provide that kind of music, you will find gigs. The economy in general affects the music industry. The worse the economy, the less people spend on entertainment. The better the economy, the more they spend on entertainment. Chances are that if you are any good, you will join the local musicians union and have either an agent or a manager who will book gigs for you, but you have to be in control of your own destiny too by going out looking for gigs and even creating your own. In fact, many musicians are down on agents because unless your band is currently hot, to the agent, you're just one act of 6 or more that he has, and he will only book you if someone calls looking for your type of band. Chances are that he will not aggressively promote you. The old school mentality was that an agent or manager saw a band, fell in love with them, then worked like hell getting them publicity, but nowadays, this doesn't happen much. An agent takes on a handful of bands he feels alright about and becomes the order taker for them. It's not like old Colonel Parker promoting Elvis. It's more like a guy in a room answering calls for orders. He has no strong love for any of his bands. In my opinion, this is due to the nature of bands nowadays. All I see is clones. When I see an original band, I don't like their music. They are original but the music sucks. It's hard to be fresh, inspired and mainstream. When Outkast came out with that hit song in 2003, that was the freshest thing I had seen in a while. You have to promote yourself then. As a result of that, hand out your business card and promo kits, and people in the biz call you directly for gigs. Beyond the agent whose job is to find gigs and record contracts, many bands hire a business manager who takes care of the money. He collects the paychecks, pays the expenses, books hotel rooms, etc. He could be a rip-off artist. Either hire someone you trust like a close relative, spouse, parent, sibling, or offspring, or do the business end yourself. Be wary of business managers. Watch your own money. If you want cautionary tales, check out Billy Joel and the Bay City Rollers. It's no secret that the music biz is feast or famine. When you're hot, everybody wants you. When you're not, nobody will give you a gig. I was surprised when Sony dropped John Denver's record contract. At one time in the early 80s, he was hot. He even had his own TV show. I loved his double live album. He had some of the most beautiful music I had ever heard in my life. I remember listening to it stoned in the back of a car driving across New Brunswick. He was a great musician, but hardly anyone pays him or his type heed anymore. All these country stars nowadays are clones down to the corny cowboy hat.